Good afternoon, it's 3 p.m. in Freetown and you're tuned in to News Hour on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. I am Stella Bangura. Coming up in this edition, lawyers raise concerns over difficulties processing subscription payments ahead of Sierra Leone Bar Association elections. EU Ambassador Jacek Jankowski reaffirms EU support for Sierra Leone at 2026 Europe Day celebrations in Freetown. And Ministry of Tourism launches One Nation Reggae Festival Creative Clinic report with calls for greater investment in Sierra Leone's creative industry. These stories plus more are lined up in this edition of News Hour. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, concerns have emerged within the Sierra Leone Bar Association ahead of next week's elections. Several lawyers complained of difficulties in processing their subscription payment slips before the May 29th deadline. The issue follows allegation raised by presidential aspirant Martina Bendu Ebenda regarding the reported unavailability of the association's treasurer, a claim later dismissed by the treasurer's office. In response to the growing debate, Cecilia Alice Sise takes up the story.
So Yusuf, I've been here, this is the third time I'm coming here now over the last couple of days, all right? And I've also called the treasurer several times. And again, do you not have instructions to receive our receipts for registration for the AGM?
No.
Okay. And do you know when she'll be in the office?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do you have instructions for when she'll be in the office? What's your position here at the Secretariat?
Admin and finance.
Admin and finance. Okay.
What began as allegations contained in a press release has now evolved into visible frustration at the Sierra Leone Bar Association Secretariat. This is a moment at the Secretariat, capturing one among many lawyers who come here to process membership subscription payment slip, a critical criterion for voting. Some members told SLBC they had repeatedly visited the Secretariat since Monday without success.
It should not be this difficult. The treasurer does not have to be physically present for members of the association to be able to drop off proof of payment. It's not necessary. I was 7 years secretary of the General Legal Counsel, and when lawyers come to show their proof of payment for the practicing certificates, I don't need to physically be there for them to drop off the receipts and for the certificates to then further be processed. So I don't see why the treasurer needs to be physically present for the process to be able to take place. I don't understand that.
The issue has also become a campaign talking point within the Bar Association elections. Margaret Moray, one of the aspirants for the position of treasurer, says the current concerns demonstrate the need for reforms in the management of the office.
One of the things we do is to ensure that when it comes to processing of receipts, it should be done digitally, because we're in a world of digitalization, and we have to be up to speed with things like that. So that would be one of the things we do. If that fails, which I believe will not fail, is to ensure that we have somebody at the Secretariat that is employed outside of us as lawyers, being that, yes, we could be busy. So when I'm not here, somebody's here to process those receipts sit or even be able to interface with the members who have concerns or members who want information.
As frustrations continued to mount at the Secretariat, some lawyers warned that unresolved concerns over payments verification could create further dispute on Election Day. Lawyer Margaret Leomi says members who have already paid their subscriptions should not be denied participation because of administrative delays.
So the issue here is not about payment. The issue here is that there should be a process that must be followed. When we've paid, they must process our slips, our bank slips, and then register us for the AGM. And being that they're not doing that, should they fail to do this until tomorrow, which is the deadline, we're taking our slips with us to Lunge, the bank slips, and that is what we'll be using. And nobody will stop us from exercising our rights as legal practitioners.
On Tuesday, May 26, presidential aspirant Martina Gbendu Igbenda issued a public statement expressing concern over what she described as difficulties faced by lawyers attempting to finalize their subscription payment ahead of the association's elections. However, a response attributed to the communications team of the Bar Association Treasurer, Satu Koba, dismissed the allegations, insisting that the Treasurer remained accessible despite her professional commitment. SLBC also made efforts to contact the current Treasurer, Satu Koba, regarding the concerns raised by members at the Secretariat. When contacted by phone, she said she was attending an event and would respond later. Until I left the Secretariat, several lawyers remained at the premises expressing frustration and uncertainty over whether their payment slips would be processed before the deadline May 29. The latest development add another layer of tension on an election already unfolding under heightened scrutiny following previous controversies within the Sierra Leone Bar Association. SLBC News, Cecilia Alice Sise.
Earlier, the race for the presidency of the Sierra Leone Bar Association is gradually taking shape, with two female lawyers now publicly declaring their ambitions ahead of the association's next elections. Incumbent President Tuma Adama Jabi is seeking re-election, while legal practitioner Martina Gbendu Igbenda is making her first bid for the top position. Their declarations come at a time when the legal profession in Sierra Leone continues to face internal divisions, questions over governance, and growing calls for reforms within the justice sector. Cecilia Alice Sise again.
The presidency of the Sierra Leone Bar Association is once again in focus, but this time with a significant gender dimension. For the first time in recent years, two women are openly competing for leadership of one of the country's most influential professional bodies. Current Bar President Tuma Adama Jabi has launched her re-election message under the slogan "Raising the Bar, Securing the Gains," highlighting what she describes as achievement during her tenure. Her campaign materials point to initiatives including the launch of a private pension scheme for lawyers through NASIT, efforts to secure land for a permanent bar secretariat, international scholarship opportunities, and strengthening partnerships within and out of Sierra Leone's judiciary. Tuma Jabi says continuity is needed to consolidate the gains already made by her administration. Meanwhile, newcomer Martina Gbendu Igbenda is presenting herself as a reform candidate, campaigning on the message, "Together we can build a united bar." Her vision focuses on unity, professionalism, empowerment, and respect within the legal profession. In her declaration, Martina Igbenda calls for what she terms a united, respected, and progressive bar, promising to promote fairness, ethical standards, and support for young and female lawyers. The emergence of two female contenders for the bar's top office is already shaping a different conversation within the legal community. Beyond the politics of the election itself, the contest is also drawing attention to the growing visibility of women in leadership within Sierra Leone's justice sector, particularly at a time when the profession is grappling with questions of reform, unity, and institutional credibility. While both candidates are presenting different visions for the future of the Bar Association, their candidacies also reflect a broader shift in female representation in spaces traditionally dominated by men. As campaigning gradually gains momentum, members of the Bar Association are expected to closely examine not only the candidates' promises, but also their ability to restore confidence, professionalism, and cohesion within the country's legal community. Interviews with the aspirants are expected in the coming days as the race for the Sierra Leone Bar Association presidency gains momentum. SLBC News, Cecilia Alice Cisse.
Now, the Deputy Leader of Government Business, Honorable Bashiru Siliki, has called on the Speaker of Parliament to institute an inquiry into why MSS, a logistics service provider, has been imposing a $100 fine on importers for late payment of import obligations, and why cement importers granted concessions are failing to produce cement locally. He made this call during the tabling of several agreements and reports in Parliament. Dennis Fraser reports.
The report of the first extraordinary session of the Pan-African Parliament held in Midland.
The head of delegation Pan-African Parliament, Honorable Bashiru Siliki, presented a report of the first extraordinary session of the 7th Parliament of the Pan-African Parliament held in Johannesburg, South Africa from 26th April to 5th May this year. Adopting the announcement by the Leader of Government Business, the Speaker, Honorable Segepo Solomon Thomas, said members of Parliament should be proud of the milestone achievements of having 2 Sierra Leonean legislators elected into positions at the African regional level. The election, he said, saw Honorable Rosemary Bangura from the opposition APC as Vice Chairperson, West Africa Regional Caucus, and Honorable Bashiru Siliki from the SLPP, who doubles as head of delegation and was elected as rapporteur on the Committee on Cooperation, International Relations and Conflict Resolution during the 7th legislature of the Pan-Africa Parliament.
Thank you very much for ably representing this Parliament and by extension the Republic of Sierra Leone. Thank you very much for your delegates. This is why I always talk about delegates. You know, the Leader of Government Business and I, together with the, I think 1 or 2 times the Deputy Speaker and the Clerk of Parliament, have been making rounds. And at one point in time, we went to South Africa, you know, just to see how far they are faring. And I am to inform you that as a nation, we should be very proud of their performance at the Parliament.
Presenting the 2025 annual report of the National Early Warning and Response Mechanism Center, the Minister of Planning and Economic Development said as a statutory obligation, the annual report contains synthesis of 52 reports in the form of alerts, situational reports, joint reports, and monthly thematic reports, for which she noted that the government cannot underestimate the security, economic, and social benefits while presenting reliable data for preventive action. Rising on Standing Order 25 to submit a notice of motion to the House, Deputy Leader of Government Business Honorable Bashiru Siliki called on the House Speaker to institute an inquiry into the reason MSS, a provider of logistics services, has been levying fines on importers of over $100 for late payment of import obligations, and also lack of adherence to concession on importers who are supposed to produce cement locally but fail to honor their obligations. After these fair comments, the Speaker later instructed for an inquiry into the issues. SLBC, Dennis Fraser reporting.
Now, the European Union ambassador to Sierra Leone, Jacek Jankowski, has said that as a solid development partner to Sierra Leone, the EU was keen to see Sierra Leone develop into a more attractive destination for European investment. The reason the EU will continue to help Sierra Leone strengthening its democratic framework through electoral standards and a genuine openness to frank dialogue. He was speaking during the commemoration of Europe Day 2026 at the Country Lodge Hotel in Freetown. Dennis Fraser has more in this report.
The high-level diplomatic ceremony held in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the European Union's presence in Sierra Leone catalogued 5 decades of its institutional cooperation in governance, infrastructure development, human capital investment, and economic transformation. According to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Musa Timothy Kaba, the occasion was not only a celebration of enduring friendship, but also a reflection of a relationship built on shared values, mutual respect, solidarity, peace, and sustainable development. He said, for 5 decades, the European Union has remained a steadfast and reliable partner to Sierra Leone, who has supported democratic governance and peace building and also invested in other areas.
We particularly encourage increased collaboration in areas such as renewable energy access, sustainable mining practices, maritime security, climate adaptation, agricultural value chains, digital innovation, and skills development. These sectors are essential for building resilience and advancing Sierra Leone's aspiration toward middle-income status.
Speaking on the impact of EU's 5 decades of bilateral relations with Sierra Leone, head of EU delegation to Sierra Leone, Ambassador Jacek Jankowski, noted that as a solid development partner to Sierra Leone, the EU is interested in seeing Sierra Leone develop into a more attractive destination for European investments, while providing duty-free and quota-free access and non-tariff barriers to its markets. He said to achieve this, it was important to continue strengthening democratic framework through electoral standards and a genuine openness to frank dialogue.
Democracy is one of the European Union's fundamental values, and Sierra Leone has given its concrete expression in a remarkable way. Since the end of the civil war in 2002, Sierra Leone's leadership across all political parties has invited the EU to observe every single election. That unbroken record of invitation reflects trust in the European Union as an impartial partner in strengthening electoral standards and a genuine openness to a frank dialogue on best practices.
The Golden Jubilee event brought together government officials, international diplomats, civil society actors, and development partners to reflect on the long-standing relationship between Sierra Leone and the European Union. SLBC, Dennis Fraser.
Now, the Ministry of Employment, Labour and Social Security has concluded a 3-day induction workshop for newly recruited labour and employment and occupational safety and health inspectors at the Sierra Palms Resort. The training brought together over 120 new staff members aimed at strengthening labour administration and workplace inspections across the country. Aminata Fofana reports.
Officials from the ministry highlighted the importance of promoting safe working environments and ensuring that companies comply with labor laws and occupational safety standards. Discussions during the workshop focused on labor inspection procedures, salary and workers' rights violations, attendance records, human resource management, and providing guidance to employers on labor-related issues. Director of Occupational Safety and Health, Ministry of Employment, Labour and Social Security, Abdul Karim Conte, said the recruitment drive comes after nearly a decade without new staff recruitment within the ministry. He noted that the ministry previously was challenged with limited staffing, especially in the regions where some districts had little or no labour officers. According to him, the recruitment of 120 inspectors is expected to significantly improve labor monitoring and enforcement nationwide.
Trainings and inductions is just the start. It's like this one, if it's not may not be enough, because it's like after we have deployed them, we still need other training programs based on the areas they were recruited for. for. Let's say for occupational health and safety, this induction training will not be enough. We have to be like taking our officers to the industries. As we do our normal inspection, we tell them what they should do and what they should not be doing. So
Mr. Kunze explained that the induction training was designed to equip the new inspectors on the labor laws, workplace inspection techniques and occupational safety regulations to enable them to effectively carry out their duties. He further stated that inspectors are expected to conduct regular visits to workplaces and industries to identify and address poor labor practices instead of waiting for complaints from workers. The director also emphasized the ministry's commitment to continuous capacity building, noting that the induction marks the beginning of a series of practical and field-based training programs for the newly recruited staff. The workshop also featured presentations on labor-related issues and expectations in the field.
Regarding the fact that mostly in our colleges, we are not taught some of these aspects. So being given this opportunity, it's really an eye-opener, and it will really make the work becomes easy.
The participants assured the ministry of a dedicated service.
As Sierra Leone joins the world in commemorating Menstrual Hygiene Day on the theme Together for a Period-Friendly World, the focal point person for Loving Humanity, Haruna Mansari, in an interview with Esther Nene Kamara, highlighted the importance of the day. He emphasized the need to break the silence and stigma surrounding menstruation while encouraging improved access to menstrual hygiene products and education for girls and women across the country.
This day is very much important. At least it gives us the chance to raise awareness because you know there are a lot of taboos attached to menstruation. You know, a lot of girls actually have dropped from school because one way or the other they don't have pad. You understand? And the disposable one in shops and other places is very costly, and it is very, very unfair by women to talk about menstruation. You understand? But I thought if that we have to come on board to see how we're able to support women and girls, especially for men that have girl child. You understand that that child is actually menstruating. You have to provide the menstrual kits for that particular child, because if you want the child to continue school, you understand. So these are very, very difficult, at least for us to raise awareness on breaking taboos, see how we're able to talk about the menstrual, how to manage it, the management skill, because you know, of course, for first timers, it is very, very difficult for them how to manage their menstruation. Well, this team, last year it was the same team, Together for a Period-Friendly World, and this year again they have repeated the same team, Together for a Period-Friendly World. It means all of us should put our hands on deck to see how we're able to support women and girls in terms of breaking taboos, raising awareness, providing menstrual hygiene kits that are comfortable. Of course, this one we produce is really comfortable. It doesn't have any effect on the environment. But those disposable ones that do have plastic, when you dispose them, it takes 10-20 years or more for it to actually decompose. But this one, you can, let me just show you an example. It's easy to use. You can see it. It is produced here. It's easy to use, and we also have the cotton that you can insert at the middle of it. So also, why it is white, the white can tell you whether you have infection or maybe your menstrual cycle is not normal. You'll be able to pick it because the period should be clean and it should be clear. But when we talk about hygiene, water should be affordable. That's the first thing, because we have been preaching this in schools, in hospital, and in so many places where we give donation of pads, that water should be available, and soap. So even this year, before we are going to donate this one, because it is coming from Loving Humanity, we have to make sure you have water surrounding within your community. So at the end of the day, children, or most particularly girls, will be able to get water nearby. And above all, we are going to put a bar of soap into some of this pack. So at the end of the day, you are able to wash it.
He's Haruna Mansari, focal point person, Loving Humanity. And now the management and staff of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation have held a solemn one-year memorial ceremony in honor of their colleague David Olu Williams, who lost his life in fatal road accident a year ago. The ceremony was graced by board members, the Director General, heads of departments and staff of the corporation to reflect on the life and contributions of the late media practitioner. Francis Moyo has the details.
My brother, live in the sunshine, we'll understand it.
In an atmosphere filled with emotion and reflection, the management and staff of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation gathered at the corporation's office headquarters at New Glanville to observe 1 year since the passing of their colleague David Olu Williams. Present at the ceremony were the Director General of SLBC, a member of the board, heads of various departments, staffs across the institution, all united in paying their respects. The session began with singing songs of praises in recognizing God's presence. The memorial candle lighting session served as a moment of remembrance and tribute to the late staff member, whose dedication and service to the institution were described as remarkable. Speakers at the event reflected on the professional contributions and personal qualities of the late David Olu Williams, describing him as hardworking, committed, and passionate about service delivery. Colleagues and friends also shared memories of the late man, noting that his legacy will continue to inspire staff within the institution. The lighting of candles symbolized remembrance, hope, and lasting impact that the late staff member made during his time at the corporation. The Director General of Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, Josephine Kamara, described the late man as very humble, obedient, and easygoing. She planned to erect a memorial garden as a remembrance for fallen heroes of SLBC.
For some time throughout this year where we don't do certain tasks then they where we been for they ask people for do when a David man can take that lead day and go on. That kind of humility, that kind of commitment to duty, it don't leave a lasting impact in this institution. I make working in a studio, or they get small challenge. Somebody can say, hey, if David been there, now they take the lead. So
the ceremony ended with prayers, moments of silence in honor of a departed colleague. For SLBC News, Francis Moyo reporting.
Smiles and excitement filled the YWCA New Hall as pupils happily received learning materials from Street Child Sierra Leone during a distribution exercise under the Early for Learning project. The event brought together vulnerable children, caregivers, and community stakeholders from Aberdeen, Crabtown, and nearby communities. Esther Suzanette Parsi reports.
Smiles and happiness filled the hall as pupils received the school items and other essential learning materials aimed at improving their learning environment and encouraging school attendance. Street Child Project Coordinator Aberdeen Crabtown, Fatmata Bangura, said the move was to support the participants and caregivers during the current challenging times and difficult standard of living in the country. She explained that the project, supported by Street Child United Kingdom, is currently working with over 252 caregivers across vulnerable communities in Freetown to improve access to education. According to the project manager, Street Child Sierra Leone, Emmanuel Samuel Bob, the project is implemented in 8 communities including Aberdeen, Susans Bay, King Tom, Moworth, Ferry Junction, Thompson Bay, Colbert, among others. That 202 children have already benefited directly from the first and second phases of the project, while the wider program is expected to reach more than 1,000 beneficiaries.
We are here today to distribute educational materials to kids living in the slum and deprived communities. The Earning for Learning project is working closely with 8 communities in its first phase in Kube, Aberdeen Crabtown, Komotongwa, and Ferry Junction Colvert. All these communities are extremely poor community, vulnerable community, marginalized community within the Freetown municipality. And so at the start of the project, which at the baseline of the project, we did a survey in which we identified vulnerable children. And these children are out of school and some are the risks of dropping out of school. We are distributing to 504 children. And tomorrow also we'll be distributing to another set.
Community stakeholders highlighted poverty as one of the major reasons many children struggle to stay in school. To address such challenges, the project also supports caregivers through skills training, entrepreneurship support, startup grants, and the Osusu Savings Scheme to help families build sustainable incomes. One beneficiary pupil, Hawa Kamara, expressed gratitude to the organization, saying the support had reduced the burden on her family and motivated her to focus more on her education. The two-year initiative continues to promote access to quality primary education with more than 1,001 educational support packages distributed to children across project communities during a 2-day exercise. For SLBC News, Esther Suzanette Bassi reporting.
Leader of the DIB movement and All People's Congress Party flag bearer aspirant Dr. Ibrahim Bangura has called on citizens to rise above political, regional and ethnic differences and work together in the interests of peace and progress. He made this call whilst reaffirming his message of peace, unity and national cohesion during Eid prayers with Muslim worshippers and residents in Makeni. Speaking shortly before the prayers, he emphasized the need for Sierra Leoneans to embrace peaceful coexistence, mutual respect, and collective nation building, consistent with his movement's mantra, Heal, Unite, and Build. He noted that Eid al-Adha symbolizes sacrifice, compassion, obedience, and solidarity. Values, he said, are critical to fostering national unity and sustainable development in Sierra Leone. His presence in Makeni was warmly received by thousands of residents and supporters who commended his continued engagement with communities across the country and his message of reconciliation and inclusive leadership. Our apologies for that brief interruption. And now the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs has launched the One Nation Festival Creative Clinic Report with government officials, cultural stakeholders, students, musicians and development partners calling for stronger investment in Sierra Leone's creative and cultural industries. The colorful event highlighted the importance of branding, cultural tourism, youth participation and collaboration in transforming Sierra Leone's creative sector into a tool for national development and international recognition. Esther Sako was there and now reports.
The One Nation Reggae Festival.
During the launch of the One Nation Reggae Festival Creative Clinic Report, stakeholders disclosed key findings and recommendations from the Creative Clinic discussions held during last year's One Nation Reggae Festival. The report identified challenges including weak investment in the creative industry, limited protection of intellectual property, inadequate collaboration, poor packaging and promotion of cultural tourism, and the need for stronger diaspora engagement. It also disclosed that Sierra Leone must intentionally invest in the creative sector and create opportunities for artists and cultural practitioners to thrive. Recommendations in the report called for stronger collaboration with the diaspora community, noting that Sierra Leoneans abroad have huge contribution to make towards sustainable cultural and tourism development. Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs Nabila Faridi Tunis described the One Nation Reggae Festival as more than just entertainment, saying the initiative was described to educate, inspire and connect Sierra Leone with the wider African and Caribbean community communities. She said the ministry has adopted a deliberate approach over the past 3 years to help citizens understand the value of tourism through campaigns such as Tourism for All, the Year of Ecotourism, and now the Year of Culture and Creativity.
It has basically turned into something positive because at every given point in time we are producing something that is impactful and that is reflective of who we are as a people. So I really want to thank everyone and encourage all of us to continue putting our best foot forward so we can promote tourism to the extent where Sierra Leone will become the enviable destination that everyone is looking forward to.
The event also celebrated creativity through the troop beat competition, where winners were awarded cash prizes ranging from 15 to 25 leones for using traditional troop beats to create beautiful music. Goodwill messages from partners and stakeholders emphasized the need for collaboration in publicizing Sierra Leone globally and using culture and creativity as tools for national transformation. Students and young participants were particularly encouraged to see themselves as future leaders who can sustain Sierra Leone's cultural identity and tourism growth. The launch ended with renewed calls for unity, intentional investment, and positive storytelling to position Sierra Leone prominently on the global tourism and cultural map. SLBC News, Esther Sako reporting.
President Julius Maada Bio has hosted Muslim worshippers at the Presidential Lodge in Freetown for Eid prayers, using his address to speak on family values, youth discipline, and the need to protect children from the negative effects of social media. Here is a report from a senior State House correspondent, Margaret Senge.
President Julius Maada Bio addressed the congregation linking peace in the country to discipline and responsibility within the homes. President Bio said the root of many social problems lies in the homes. He urged parents to take responsibility for raising their children rather than leaving them solely to teachers.
We enjoy peace now, and that peace is for cherish and for support. And as how the Imam said, if for start at the home, we see the home control problem not again. But most of the problems that we get, they start from the home. Because that parents, when they with the people, they sleep and grab with them. They say, no, na teacher will train them. Teacher, I only get a few hours with them. They come back to your house. You don't let your responsibility. That's not one of the problems. And with future then and then young people in hand, we begin in hand. If you want for old fine and you want for enjoy your old age, you for take care of your beginner.
The president called on Sierra Leoneans to continue being religious tolerant and to peacefully coexist, urging Muslims and Christians to avoid divisions created by misunderstandings of scriptures.
Well, just imagine small people, let's say below the age of 16. If we not tell them waiting, because all things that are social media, all things, you go able to learn them, you go able spoil yourself then, you go able completely go astray, just depending on social media. So when we begin prepare our mind, because we get for mega proposition, we will get for control how we begin to use social media. We feature they now they small one they have. We get for make sure they come off from.
He ended with an appeal to young people to uphold respect and avoid the culture of insult, especially towards women and girls. In his sermon, the Imam Sheikh Omar Bangura praised President Bio's government for being transparent in handling this year's Hajj. He also commended the president for joining the Muslim community for prayers in observation of Eid al-Adha.
Today, Muslims, they go Hajj, they go to the soccer. We don't get allowed to Lungi, we don't get allowed to Abuja. We don't get allowed to UBB. Oh yes! So this is Alhamdulillah for the administration, the Hajj committee, we play for the security, the soldiers and the police, we are all they play a role because we are going to go home for any source to go people, not to pay the bill for yourself.
Religious leaders in the event welcomed the president's focus on family youth, saying it reflects the shared values of both Christian and Muslim communities in Sierra Leone. For SLBC News, Margaret Singer reporting.
hundreds of Muslims from different communities converged at the Islamic College along Wilkinson Road in Freetown to observe Eid al-Adha prayers, where religious leaders used the occasion to preach sacrifice, unity, kindness, and support for the less privileged in society. Esther Sako reports.
The atmosphere at the Islamic College on Wilkinson Road was filled with worship, reflection and celebration as Muslims from all walks of life gathered to mark Eid al-Adha, one of the most significant celebrations in Islam. The event attracted several dignitaries including the Director General of the National Civil Registration Authority, officials from the Iranian Embassy and other prominent personalities who joined worshippers for the special Eid prayers. Sheikh Ali Jallo, a lecturer at the Islamic College, described Eid al-Adha as a period of sacrifice, compassion and service to humanity. He explained that the celebration reminds Muslims of the importance of helping the needy and spreading the love within their communities regardless of religious background.
So the Eid is about sacrifice. It's about helping people who are in need. It's about helping your community. It's about bringing happiness and the lives of others.
According to Sheikh Jallo, Muslims are encouraged during the holy celebration to slaughter animals and share with neighbors, the poor, the vulnerable population in society. He emphasized that the spirit of Eid is not only about celebration but also bringing happiness into the lives of others. Delivering his message at the prayers, Sahid Mu'aman Ahmed Musawi, visiting Imam, Muslim cleric and university professor and lecturer, in his message to worshippers encouraged Muslims to remain peaceful, united and committed to doing good for humanity. Sheikh Jallo, while interpreting the message, described the visiting scholar as a respected Islamic teacher who traveled to different parts of the world to officiate similar religious gatherings and promote Islamic teachings. He also acknowledged the contributions made by partners and Islamic organizations in supporting education and community development through the construction of schools and other humanitarian activities. The prayer ended with special supplications for peace, unity and prosperity for Sierra Leone as worshippers exchanged greetings and shared moments of celebration with family, friends and neighbors. SBC News, Esther Sako reporting.
And now from that report, let's move over for our business update.
It's a pleasant welcome to the Business Update, a segment that brings you the latest in business and its contributions on the economy. I am Alwyn Roy Fox. Coming up in today's edition, we take a look at the hike in prices for essential building materials in the market across Freetown. And now, with the commencement of the rainy season, prices for essential building materials have hiked in the market across Freetown. Traders attributed the hike on the higher importation and transport costs, while consumers say the increase is affecting their construction projects. Our business reporter Zainab Madi filing this report, read in the studio by Elizabeth Molen-Sise.
As the raining season begins, the prices of building materials such as zinc and cement, among others, continue to rise across the city. Customers say the increase is making construction more difficult. Abu businessman at Campbell Street expressed frustration over the current shipping cost at the Queen Elizabeth Quay, which he said has affected their sales.
The shipments and the water key and it causing problems.
The shipping costs at Queen Elizabeth Quay have increased, which has led to a drop in sales. Previously, the price was around $450, but now the price has gone up significantly.
Accounts and our shop, you know, the imports are from the who said they survive, they go buy to them.
Solomon Kamara, a businessman at Dwaza community, also noted that during this rainy season, the prices of building materials have increased, noting that it has led to low sales and reduced profits.
They can say forward ever, backward never. Everything just be clean go.
In previous years, prices were much lower, but now during this rainy season, everything has become very expensive, We are hardly getting customers. We are pleading with the government to look into our situation and address our concerns.
At the end of the day, not that we know the sales.
Many businesses are now struggling with a drastic reduction in sales, while calling on the government to review the sales on building materials.
And many thanks to Zainab Madi for filing that report that was read in the studio by Elizabeth Morin-Sese. Well, that's all we can share in today's edition of Business Updates. I've been your presenter, Olwin Way Fox. Keep watching.
Many thanks to our business presenter, Olwin Roy Fox. And now for entertainment news.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment News with me, Sulaiman Babature. In this edition of Entertainment News, All Stars Sierra Leone shares solidarity statement to Vida. And Mr. Supranational Sierra Leone Alhaji Masari announces participating in Mr. Supranational International 2026. Now, the Union of Musicians All Stars Sierra Leone, popularly known as All Stars, has extended its heartfelt solidarity and unwavering support to Vida following her courageous decision to speak publicly about her experience as a victim of sexual assault and rape. In the release, the union says they recognize the immense strength it takes to speak out in the face of stigma, fear, and public scrutiny. All Stars condemned the act, stating no woman should ever endure violence, abuse, or forced intimacy under any circumstance. In the statement, the union condemned all forms of sexual and gender-based violence. They called on the public to respond with empathy, dignity, and humanity, rather than judgment or harmful speculations. They reaffirmed the union's commitment to advocate for safer space within society and the entertainment industry where women live, work, and create free from fear, abuse, and exploitation. It's indeed a sad thing as we keep on reporting on this matter as the issues or news unfold. And now, the search for the next Mr. Supranational International 2026 has officially begun. And to alert his fans, newly crowned Mr. Supranational Sierra Leone Alhaji Masari has announced his participation on the competition representing Sierra Leone, the land of milk and honey. He made the announcement through a post on his Facebook page days ago. Though the competition is still in its early days, the Sierra Leonean pageant king has shown readiness to bring the crown home. He said his journey was for the country, people, and everyone that believes in him. Alhaji said he carries with him the dream of many young people, the love of his nation, and determination to make Sierra Leone proud on the international stage. We are proud indeed because you have been doing it and you've been representing us. You've been doing great internationally, nationally and internationally. Well, we say kudos in advance, congratulations in advance, because he is proudly showing that he will bring home the crown. Well, this is all we have for this edition of Entertainment News. I've been your presenter, Sulaiman Babature. Thanks for watching and keep watching the SOBC.
Many thanks to our Entertainment News Desk, and now for Sports Update.
Hello there and welcome along to the sporting updates that keeps you in the know. My name is Abdul Kabi and thank you so much for your time. Now, the Sierra Leone Archery Association, in partnership with the World Archery and Africa Archery, has ended a 7-day coaching course aimed at strengthening the capacity of local coaches and also promoting the growth of archery in Sierra Leone at the Olumb Africa Center at Godrich in Freetown. This report was sent in by our intern reporter Alimami Conte and read in the studios by Sulaiman Babature.
The training focused on internationally recognized coaching techniques athlete development, safety, and the technical foundations of archery. Organizers say the initiative forms part of efforts to build a stronger foundation for the sport in Sierra Leone by equipping local coaches with the skills needed to train further generations of archers. 24 coaches, including 10 females and 14 males, participated in the course, which brought together trainers and experts from Portugal, Algeria, and Nigeria.
We are here for us to be trained to learn more from the experts who came from Portugal, Mr. Carlos Freitas, who is one of the highest high-performance archery coaches in the world. So this is a great opportunity, a great privilege for Sierra Leone archery to have such a high-profile coach to come into this country to train us.
International instructors praised the commitment shown by participants throughout the 7-day program, describing the course as a major step towards strengthening archery in Sierra Leone. Among the facilitators were experienced trainers, including Jafar Seri from Algeria and Carlos Freitas from Portugal, who has more than 20 years of experience in archery coaching and development.
So the key skills were basically on the archery technique and on equipment and on organizational skills. So after the course, we expect people to be able to teach new people, so introduce them to the sport, have them know how to shoot and develop basic techniques, and after that we're the ones that will develop better as athletes to make them improve.
Nigeria archery coach Aliu Gaga said archery in Sierra Leone is steadily growing and has the potential for rapid development if the current momentum continues. He noted that the newly trained coaches are expected to return to their various regions and communities to train more young people, creating what organizers describe as a ripple effect for the sport nationwide.
Archery is still young in Sierra Leone, and it has potential of rapid growth with this course. So it means by the time this course is over, you will have more qualified coaches, people that can go out there and train more people, and that's what the association needs for archery to really grow rapidly.
At the end of the course, participants were awarded certificates in recognition of their successful completion of the program. Participants also expressed optimism that the knowledge gained during the training would help develop future archery talents across Sierra Leone. It was awesome having to be coached by an international expert in the world of archery. They would extend the knowledge that they have gained to their communities and schools.
I've learned a lot, and I hope not only learning, I will also know how to coach others.
Sierra Leone, we have good archers, because from us taking the coaching course, after that we extend the little knowledge we have from the experts to extend it to schools, universities, communities level.
Organizers say they remain committed to expanding the sport across Sierra Leone through continuous training programs, talent development, and international collaboration.
International team will flip our attention to football. Crystal Palace are the champions of the Europa Conference League after an exciting performance.
The Premier League will have a joint record of clubs in Europe next season, with a total of 9 teams featuring in UEFA competitions. Crystal Palace will become the 9th Premier League club to compete in Europe next season after winning the UEFA Conference League. Oliver's team beat La Liga side Rayo Vallecano 1-0 in the final at the Red Bull Arena in Leipzig. Palace have now become the 3rd English club to win the Conference League in its 5 years, after West Ham United in 2023 and Chelsea in 2025. Their success now means they've automatically qualified for the league phase of the 2026-2027 UEFA Europa League. The Eagles' entry in that competition does not affect any other Premier League club. Instead, they are now the 3rd English team in next season's Europa League, following Bournemouth and Sunderland, who have qualified after their respective 6th and 7th places in the English Premier League table.
And that ends your update. See you next time.
Many thanks to Abdul Kabir for the sport update. And now to end the news, the main points again. Concerns have emerged within the Sierra Leone Bar Association ahead of next week's elections as lawyers report difficulties processing subscription payments before the May 29th deadline. The issue follows claims by presidential aspirant Martina Bindu Ebenda about the Treasurer's alleged unavailability, which were later dismissed by the Treasurer's office. The European Union ambassador to Sierra Leone, Jacek Jankowski, said the EU is committed to helping Sierra Leone become a more attractive destination for European investment. He added that the EU will continue supporting the country in strengthening its democratic institutions through improved electoral standards and open, frank dialogue. He made the remarks at the Europe Day 2026 celebration held at Country Lodge Hotel in Freetown. And the Ministry of Tourism and Cultural Affairs has launched the One Nation Reggae Festival Creative Clinic Report with government officials, cultural stakeholders, students, musicians and development partners calling for stronger investment in Sierra Leone's creative and cultural industries. And that is how we wrap up this edition of News Hour from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. I have been your anchor, Stella Bangura. Stay tuned.